Hello everyone, and welcome to my Bold and Beautiful Today channel. Although Liam survives his tumor, his life spirals out of control. I don't think Liam Spencer will die in Bold and the Beautiful, but it's obvious that this plot point is meant to be a significant turning point in his life. I wonder what would happen if Liam survived, but his life was drastically altered, twisted, and shockingly affected. Even if Liam prevails in his fight against his brain tumor, we will discuss what might lie ahead for Hope Logan, Steffy Forrester, and other people in his life. The startling diagnosis of Liam Spencer's brain tumor on B&B. Liam was currently sentenced to death by Finn, Bridget Forrester, Grace Buckingham, and the entire team of neurologists. His brain has a large mass, which they say cannot be operated on. They maintain that there is nothing that can be done to get rid of it. And I completely agree with a lot of the remarks I've read here and on social media for soap operas. The fact that Finn, Grace, and the other doctors aren't attempting anything seems very strange. No treatment of any kind is being tried to reduce the tumor's size or halt its growth. I have first-hand experience with persons who have had such tumors in their brains, and they typically undergo radiation therapy or other treatments. To check if they can make it small enough to work on, they attempt to shrink it. However, Liam's crew hasn't accomplished anything thus far. They haven't accomplished much. The agony in his brain is getting worse. And aside from saying, "Oh, well, you're about to die," they don't appear to be doing anything to assist him. Liam survives his tumor, but his life spirals out of control in Bold and the Beautiful. #Brave and Beautiful. Beyond survival, how Liam's brain tumor may significantly alter his character. Once more, since they haven't tried anything, I simply don't think they're killing Liam. However, that does not imply that Liam will emerge from this as the same person he was in the beginning. Therefore, there may be a treatment that can eventually preserve his life, reduce the tumor, operate, and do other positive things. However, there may be behavioral abnormalities if you know someone who has had brain surgery, a brain tumor, or a traumatic brain injury. This is because once you start tinkering with the brain, especially by applying pressure with a tumor, things can go horribly wrong. Bold and the Beautiful, is Liam different even though he lives? Once more, I continue to believe that Liam's death is extremely unlikely because he is a well-liked character and Scott Clifton is a gifted actor who has won 3 Daytime Emmys. They might, however, be taking advantage of this physical condition to fundamentally alter his personality. Take him in a completely different path and sort of redefine it. And Liam's loved ones, including Hope, Steffy, Bill Spencer, and others, would be in for a big shock if that's what Brad Bell has in mind. Liam might emerge from this as a totally new person. It can occasionally be seen in cases of brain cancer, trauma, tumors, or just complete personality changes. In fact, I know a friend who experienced this. His wife believed that her husband was cruel and had simply changed. He treated her cruelly. He treated the children cruelly. He then left to pursue other ladies. He had a brain tumor, as it proved out. Additionally, they used radiation to reduce it in his case. They performed surgery. After a while, he returned to himself. However, he sort of continued down this gloomy path even immediately following the surgery. This is the reality of life. Although it sounds like a soap opera, this is real life. They were able to re-establish their marriage after he eventually self-corrected. However, he had no intention of doing it and it was really frightening. Liam Spencer, Bold and the Beautiful. Is Liam Spencer going to become dark? A startling development for Steffy and Hope. Therefore, we might witness something similar with Liam, and we might witness Hope in utter amazement when she tells him she wants to make amends with him, and it appears that this will happen. Because Liam can wind up becoming someone Hope thinks she doesn't even know, there's a risk that Hope will recommit to him but later come to dislike what she is seeing. I could envisage a complete turnaround in which Liam survives this fatal prognosis and then, for a while at least, becomes rather depressed. And that would be a significant change from what Steffy, Hope, Bill Spencer, and others have known about him because, you know, Liam has always been a wonderful, tree-hugging man. For the most part, Liam is rather mild, even when he is hesitating and cheating on the lady in his life, as he has done with both Steffy and Hope. He is submissive, quiet, and neither hostile nor irate. He isn't some aggressive alpha man, even when he is being pushed to the limit. Is Dollar Bill channeled by Liam Spencer? Examining a malevolent future on BNB. To put it simply, he is completely different from Dollar Bill. Furthermore, Liam wasn't very irate or agitated throughout that altercation with Bill. For the most part, Liam was defensive. I had the impression that he was simply not bad. He doesn't use violence. He is simply a kind person at heart. However, following this brain tumor episode, I believe it would be quite bizarre if Liam began acting completely out of character and channeling Dollar Bill. Liam may be able to undergo surgery to have the tumor removed or decreased, after which he will be able to resume his regular activities and be rescued. However, it's possible that Scott Clifton's character will emerge as someone quite different from the man we know and love. And because brain tumors and injuries alter the gray matter and skull, Liam can become aloof, hostile, or just plain different. Brave and lovely, another Liam Waffles? Naturally, Hope would be devastated if she were to reunite with him and discover that Liam is not the man she fell in love with. Liam, Hope thinks, is her future. And it would be an intriguing twist on Bold and the Beautiful if he became evil or even a villain. And perhaps that's what Brad Bell wants this Liam killing plan to accomplish. He might reject Hope's love and turn away from her, you know. It might even turn out that Liam is waffling again. Veers off course and begins chasing Steffy behind Finn's and Hope's backs. Steffy, Finn, and Hope would be horrified, you know. Hope would undoubtedly be upset if he did this, believing that Liam has drastically improved his behavior. At this point, I believe she believes he can finally be a one-woman man. A new Liam Spencer storyline? The creative potential of actor Scott Clifton. Thus, Liam may survive and remain in this tumor tale, but he may also simply turn into this very dark version of himself. At least it would be something new, even though it would be completely shocking. Seeing Liam grow darker and more evil might be entertaining and fascinating, in my opinion. And having such strange material to expand his creative horizons would be highly appreciated by Scott Clifton. Actors who have portrayed goody two-shoes for a long time are frequently given the opportunity to play nasty, and they truly enjoy it. I've heard actors claim that playing villains is their favorite role since it allows them to push themselves dramatically and let go more. Brad Bell gives soapy twist in Bold and the Beautiful? Brad Bell rarely surprises us, but when he does, I think it would be absolutely awesome. This could be incredibly unique and different, in my opinion. I'm eager to see what Brad Bell has in mind with Liam. Once more, I don't believe Liam will pass away, but I may see this as Hope and Liam getting back together. You see, everything is set up for that happy ever after since he is doing well. Finn and Steffy are doing well. Liam and Finn become buddies, and then everything just takes a crazy, soap opera turn. Liam is essentially a horrible guy. That seems like the beginning of a new chapter. In the short term, that might be incredibly fantastic, but obviously, I would hope it wouldn't be that way in the long run. We'll see what transpires. Will Liam's life-saving treatment require Steffy and Liam to leave town? Steffy Forrester of The Bold and the Beautiful must make a hard decision because Liam's brain tumor necessitates experimental therapy abroad. Will she abandon Finn in order to save her former spouse? Steffy leaving Finn behind to save Liam's life, the ultimate sacrifice? The Forrester family is rocked by a life-or-death choice. Fans of Bold and Beautiful, get ready for a storm that has the potential to split apart several families. Steffy Forrester is going to make a decision that will leave viewers in shock as Liam Spencer's diagnosis of an incurable brain tumor continues to destroy everyone around him. According to sources, Steffy is seriously thinking of leaving her present husband Finn in Los Angeles to send her ex-husband overseas for experimental treatment. The unachievable decision that transforms everything. The Forrester and Spencer families have already been rocked by the heartbreaking news of Liam's brain tumor. However, what about the impending bomb? It's possible that Steffy, rather than Hope, will go with him to treatment. Let's face it, this goes beyond medical treatment. Steffy and Liam have a long history together, and even though she is married to Finn, they have always had a strong bond. Steffy stepped up right away when Liam began to exhibit symptoms and eventually got his sobering diagnosis. She helped him through doctor's appointments and even assisted him in determining whether or not to disclose his condition to Hope. So far, Finn has shown a surprising amount of empathy, acknowledging the gravity of Liam's situation and putting aside any jealousy in the interest of medicine. When the excellent doctor finds out that his wife may be leaving the nation with her ex-husband, how will he respond? More significantly, will Hope Logan watch as the father of her children leaves with her longtime rival? The medical miracle that has the ability to result in old flames. Someone must accompany Liam for what may be weeks or perhaps months of therapy because the experimental treatment that could save his life is not available in the US. Doctors say Liam needs someone familiar who knows his past, like Steffy, even though Bill Spencer has offered to go with his son. According to a source connected to the show, you need people around you who truly know you when you're fighting for your life. And Steffy knows Liam better than anyone else. Let's not be naive, though. It would be like lighting a match next to gasoline to put these two in a high-stakes, emotionally charged position so far from home. Will Steffy's long-suppressed emotions be rekindled as she watches Liam struggle for his life? What does that mean for Finn? According to sources, Finn might first volunteer to accompany them and use his medical knowledge to keep an eye on Liam's health. However, he might not be able to stay for long due to job obligations at the hospital, leaving Steffy and Liam alone at their most vulnerable moment. The decision made by their daughter is weighed in by Ridge and Taylor. Ridge and Taylor, Steffy's parents, disagree about what their daughter should do as she struggles with this tough decision. As a medical professional herself, Taylor recognizes the seriousness of Liam's illness and is in favor of Steffy assisting her child's father. Ridge, meantime, is concerned about how Steffy's marriage may be affected and whether she is putting herself at risk of experiencing heartbreak once more. Is the past happening again? Not to mention that Ridge has been alternating between Brooke and Taylor for decades, and now his daughter is caught in an equally difficult emotional situation. In Los Angeles, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Hope's startling response that nobody anticipated. Hope's response is arguably the most surprising aspect of the drama that is developing. According to reports, Hope may even push Steffy to go with Liam rather than competing to be the one who does. Has she come to terms with the fact that she and Liam are no longer married? Or does she have a secret agenda? After their contentious kiss at the Forrester party, some fans speculate that Hope may aim to get closer to Finn now that Steffy is no longer involved. One thing is for sure, though, Liam's diagnosis and treatment will put all of the relationships on the canvas to the test. Will Steffy put her marriage at risk in order to save her ex-husband? Will Finn support his wife or will he eventually lose it? What about the kids who are enmeshed in this emotional cyclone? The consequences of these choices will influence narratives for months to come, and the stakes have never been higher. One source put it succinctly, people reveal their genuine selves when it comes to issues of life and death. And Steffy's true heart will be shown by what she does next. The emotional barriers are rapidly closing in on the bold and the beautiful. The tale has changed from romance and rivalry to stark survival, forced reconciliation, and unexpected closure as a result of Liam Spencer's heartbreaking diagnosis. Liam, who is typically the man caught between Hope and Steffy, is at the center of the storm, but he is suddenly confronting a truth that is far more horrifying than having to choose between women, his own mortality. Following weeks of vague symptoms and mysterious test findings, the news came as a sledgehammer. Liam is ill, possibly dying, and for once, the main problem is not his uncertainty. The show has shifted the focus to something far more intimate and moving, how the collapse of one guy may compel everyone around him to examine themselves, reassess their grievances, and decide what really counts. Hope and Steffy, two women whose lives have been entwined with Liam's for years, are more devastated by the news than anybody else. Particularly, Steffy is compelled to face her own past with Liam, previous betrayals, partially healed wounds, and the guilt that remains from conflicts waged in the name of love. However, the way this plot forces Steffy to do the unimaginable, to put aside pride, competition, and even years of sorrow in order to make amends, not just with Liam, but with Hope as well, is what makes it so captivating. It may seem like a narrative twist for Steffy to offer an olive branch, but in these intensely emotional situations, it seems like the most logical course of action. In this instance, the barriers between Steffy and Hope start to fall down as life and death have a humorous way of removing the layers of ego. When Steffy learns more about Liam's health, she is completely devastated, not only by the horrifying thought of losing him, but also by the overwhelming remorse that follows years of hostility. She understands that if Liam died, his legacy would be tainted by decades of animosity between the two women who loved him the most, in addition to his illness. Therefore, Steffy does not accuse, control, or retaliate for once. With hesitation and tears, she extends her hand to Hope. Although their shared past might fill a book, Steffy currently views Hope as a fellow woman mourning the possible loss of someone who once shaped both of their lives rather than as a rival. Although it isn't elaborate or flawless, her apology is sincere. She acknowledges that she has harbored animosity for far too long and that, given Liam's situation, the little arguments no longer seem important. The change surprises Hope as well. She doesn't trust it at first. It takes time for years of cautious relationships to go. However, something inside Hope softens when she witnesses Steffy's honesty, the anguish in her eyes, and the way her voice falters when she says, "We may not have always agreed, but we both love him." Following this unannounced truce, the show's emotional tone drastically changes. Viewers are watching a genuine reckoning of character rather than just another love triangle. Meanwhile, Liam is still caught between flashes of courage and overpowering terror. He attempts to hide his suffering behind fake assurances and forced grins in order to remain strong for people around him. However, as the pressure mounts, he finally collapses. Liam finally acknowledges that he's afraid, not just of dying, but of leaving a mess behind, in a scene that will probably go down as one of the most impactful of the season. He admits that he regrets causing Hope and Steffy to be at odds so much and that the memory of their altercation still plagues him as he draws his last breath. Both women take his final request seriously: "Promise me, no matter what happens, you'll take care of each other." And that serves as the impetus for something that viewers never anticipated, an open and sincere relationship between Hope and Steffy that develops out of real emotional development rather than need. Liam's heartbreaking announcement serves as a wake-up call in addition to leaving a path of sadness. Everyone starts to see past the typical blame cycles. Brooke and Taylor, who have been bitter rivals for a long time, start to consider how their dispute has affected their daughters' lives. And despite the fact that their attempts at reconciliation are at best shaky, they are making an effort because they understand that nobody can be guaranteed another tomorrow. In another scene, Carter, who is still deeply attached to Hope, finds it difficult to see how he fits into this tragic puzzle. Even Carter can't deny that Liam needs Hope more than ever, even as he observes from the sidelines while Hope dedicates herself to his care. To his credit, Carter backs off and accepts Hope's decision amicably, for the time being, at least. Another emotional undercurrent emerges from his quiet strength, suggesting that his story is far from over. The scenes grow increasingly personal and introspective as Liam's condition deteriorates. Confessions are up and confrontations are down. Raw human feeling takes the place of what formerly seemed like endless soap opera as old memories are relived and family images are re-examined. Steffy sticks by Hope's side through everything. The two women sat by Liam's hospital bed in one heartbreaking scene, each holding one of his hands while they exchange stares that convey far more than words could. They don't have to be in love. All they have to do is comprehend one another, and they do. By the episode's conclusion, the atmosphere is solemn yet somehow serene. Even though Liam lacks the power to stand, he has gained insight. He is aware of his love. And that love isn't broken for once. Though they are still very different women, Hope and Steffy have decided to put their own needs and Liam's needs ahead of their competition. It's a rare instance of grace on a show that is based on rivalry and treachery. Nevertheless, it functions. It feels earned, which is why it works. Because sometimes people are at their greatest when things are at their worst. Even if Liam's future is still up in the air, what he has accidentally created is a necessary and beautiful reckoning. The show's central theme has always been the love triangle, but it eventually takes on a deeper meaning when it confronts mortality, which is so universal. It turns into a tale about how love, remorse, and forgiveness coexist in the last stages of life rather than about who ends up with whom. Though this plotline demonstrates that The Bold and the Beautiful can also address sensitive, emotional realism with care, the program has always been propelled by dramatic flair. Even while it is unfortunate, Liam's disheartening news may have led to one of the show's most poignant storylines to yet. And fans are reminded that even in a world filled of secrets, treachery, and melodrama, there is still hope for atonement as Steffy and Hope embark on this hesitant path of healing, bound together by love and grief. Did Finn inflate Luna's expectations of a relationship? Updates and teasers for The Bold and the Beautiful hint that John Finnegan might have unwittingly misled Luna Nozawa. He quickly went after her after learning that she was his daughter, lamenting that he wasn't there to be her father, but he later changed his mind. Luna longs for Finn to enter her life. After learning that Finn is her father, Luna is adamant on having him in her life. She will do whatever it takes, even breaking into the Cliff house without Steffy Forrester's knowledge. Finn first gave the impression that he was amenable to a relationship with Luna, but he now seems to be pulling away. It makes one wonder if he might have accidentally deceived her. But as Steffy found out, Finn's strategy was totally altered. When Finn learned that he was Luna's father, he was overcome with emotions. He felt a wave of happiness, sorrow, frustration, and rage. He had the opportunity to establish a stronger connection with her as a result of this revelation. Finn felt he could have had a good impact on Luna's life and wished he had been there for her at her darkest moments. Who wouldn't want a father like Finn, after all? He has a good heart and is devoted and loyal to his family. In many respects, he is in contrast to Luna, who was deprived of the opportunity to get to know her father during her childhood by her mother, Poppy, Romy Park. Perplexing messages. It makes sense that Finn's feelings for Luna are conflicted. When he initially told her that he was her father, he gave her a big hug and she looked into his eyes for the first time. That was the height of their intimacy, but after he spoke to Steffy, everything changed drastically, and she forbade him completely. Finn became emotionally distant after Steffy told her that he would not be a part of her life. She was not welcome in his realm, he clarified to Luna. Given that Luna had killed 2 innocent individuals and put his wife in jail, the response is understandable. Spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful. Did Finn give Luna misplaced hope for a relationship? It looks like Finn led Luna on. Luna thought they could have a father-daughter bond because Finn offered her false hope. He showed warmth and affection, but eventually withdrew it. Luna feels lost and hurt by Finn's actions, therefore it makes sense that she longs for a relationship with him. Having alluded to a possible paternal role, he finally decided to ignore her. How do you feel about Finn's behavior? Do you think he lied to Luna, or do you think he has good reason to keep his distance?